And I think, we've especially seen that really, I think the dam is broken in the last few days with not just Jamie Dimon, but a lot of different groups now are telling Trump, and they're getting a little more aggressive and assertive with him, that you're not going to be here,
Yeah. And I'm just going to throw out a couple quotes that
Yeah.
have been surfacing in the media for the last, honestly, some of these before the election, and definitely there's been more of a wave of them after. Is, before the election, Jamie Dimon said that the peaceful and stable transition of power, whether it is to the second administration of a president or a new one, is a hallmark of America's 244-year history as an independent nation. And then after the election, and this is a quote from a media article, within 45 minutes of CNN and other media outlets projecting Biden as the president-elect, Dimon put out a statement urging everyone to, quote unquote, respect the results, quote unquote, honor the decision of the voters, and quote unquote, support a peaceful transition of power. I'm going to skip around here a little bit, but the Citigroups, which is one of the largest banks in the country, their chief U.S. equity strategist, Tobias Levkovich, just 3 days ago on November 10th, for most investors, the perspective is that the election has been settled, providing evidence of shenanigans and irregularities is required in a court of law, and I haven't seen any. And then my favorite quote that he put out, which is a sting, is markets were happy that you may have less impulsive decisions, fewer tweets in the middle of the night, and there's a sense that will be a little calmer in the way the presidency is run. And then the only other one I want to throw out of the ones I compiled comes from the world's largest investment firm, which is BlackRock.
They're your buddies, right?
Yeah, they're my buddy. I mean, so is Jamie Dimon. I've personally, given Jamie Dimon comments at some of his public events.
Has he sent you like Christmas cards or anything? Is he one of these anonymous contributors to the Green and Red podcast?
Maybe. No comment. I don't want to out Jamie. Doubtful, very doubtful. But BlackRock, largest investment firm in the world, their strategist in a note to clients on Monday said, quote unquote, "We see the likelihood that recounts and legal challenges could overturn this outcome as remote and favor looking through any resulting market volatility." Another big indicator here is that since Biden, since the networks called it for Biden and Harris, the markets have vastly improved, right? And that news around a vaccine from Pfizer for coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, but what's striking is because remember, in the last stages of the campaign, Trump kept saying, Biden's going to destroy your beautiful 401k. Actually, as soon as Biden started to kind of pull away and create distance far more than he ended up winning by, the market started to perk up. I mean, I have a 403B and I did very well last week. So, Joe Biden is not their enemy any more than Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or their enemies. And Wall Street, the other point, to go back to like the history we did at the beginning, Wall Street is almost always Democratic. Not in the Reagan years because, everybody knew Reagan wasn't going to get defeated. But Wall Street has always, Clinton and Biden in terms of donations just blew away Trump among investors.
Hillary in particular.
Yeah, the Goldman, Goldman paid her like $1 million to go in there and talk to him or something like that, right? So Wall Street is a Democrat, and this always like kind of fries people's minds because I've had people like I've said this and they come up, no, they're not, and they have this idea business loves the Republicans. Like, well, certain businesses do, but big business doesn't really, and banking especially doesn't. People just absolutely say that's you're crazy and what's wrong with you and all this kind of stuff.
And that's the point why we always go back. That's why we go back to like Thomas Ferguson and Nomi Prinz is that there's actually a history here and there's patterns and it's not just what you're seeing sort of in these more surface level media articles or what you get from God love them, but like lefty progressive media, which actually, thinks they have a deep analysis and a deep understanding of history and politics and probably should be listening to the Green and Red podcast a little more. No shade, but
there's a lot of shade coming from me, not from Scott. Scott takes the high road. He goes, when I go low, he goes high.
Yeah. I'm the Michelle Obama of the duo here.
Well, yeah, with all due respect, like, I'm a Sicilian American and you're what my people would call a Metagon. So
yeah.
No, you're my brother and comrade, but no, I think that's a big problem actually among lefty media. that they don't have. I mean, and I've named names many times before, but I mean, I'm familiar with Democracy Now! And Rachel Maddow and all that kind of stuff. And no, it's a fairly facile and superficial explanation, and I don't think it serves us well to kind of operate, with these ideas. I'm not saying capitalists are good or capitalists are your friend. They're not, and they will, steamroll you if they need to, but they'd rather not. They'd rather co-opt you and commodify you. And the revolution isn't imminent. So, helping people live, especially in COVID, saving some lives, helping people live a little bit better. It's not, it's triage is the word I often use to describe it. It's triage, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
But you've got to read, the best quote is the Boltanski quote. You've got to read that, because that's maybe my favorite story of the year, is the Four Seasons press conference.
We should do a whole show on that, honestly.
The whole show on that.
I will, to give props to the lefty media and the lefty podcast universe, though, is that they have been all over that, and that has been one of the more amusing things in the last week.
Like that. They're great at stuff like that. They're great at stuff.
So Isaac Boltanski, who is the director of policy research at Compass Point Research and Trading, which is a BFD, right? Big fucking deal. They said anyone who watched the Trump's campaign's press conference on Saturday in Philadelphia likely shares our skepticism regarding their prospects. Yeah, we. I hadn't seen that. Isaac Boltanski could be one of our new favorite people.